And there we go. Hey, hello guys. Hope everyone's doing okay. Yeah, so we're finally on to doing props for the scene. We've been working on the mirror and obviously the Pierrot himself for a little while now. I've done a little bit of work off stream, not really a huge amount. I've continued working on the mirror to get some more cracks in there. These ones are added a little bit differently, but we can chat about that at a different point. And I've also literally just in 20 minutes put the mask look dev together, because obviously it's copied from an older project, so I could just grab all the textures and plug them back in. I've done quite a lot of hue correction, just because earlier on it was bright red. So yeah, we basically just worked through all the layers. So grabbed some displacement, fixed it because it was in 32-bit, but we've changed the scale, so I've converted it to a 16-bit map, and then done all the offsetting in my shader. So eventually got it to there. Added the normal map as well, and then added spec map, then added color, and then it's just a case of getting subsurface right from there. So we got to this, and then it's just color corrections from there. So yeah, the latest render is this one, or the cleanest one. This one's a noisy one, but for everything, just to see if it was affecting the bounce lights. But yeah, so this is how the mask is looking. A little bit orange in places. That's a reflection of the curtain. So I'm going to think about if I want to fix that or not, because I'm debating breaking this into more layers in terms of rendering. So if I render the environment with no Pierrot, like at all, because one of the issues I have is when the Pierrot's in there, he reflects a lot of light, so he kind of turns the entire scene towards white, which is fine, but it's not really ideal. So yeah, that's something we're going to play with. Granted, this is the non-blued out version, but still, it's not great. But yeah, other than that, latest renders and all that jazz. Oh yeah, it's already on screen. So this is the latest render that I did last night. So this is with the current mirror as of today, or as of last night, with one extra crack that's been added in the latest version. And other than that, it's pretty much the same minus the mask. So yeah, we're going to start working on adding some props to the scene, because I just want a bit more to kind of fill everything out. Obviously this is an old render, but you can see how the bottom part of the image is kind of flat right now. There's nothing really going on here. I'd quite like it to feel like he's got a little makeup station. I also need to just revisit the overall look. In fact, I'll quickly kick off a render with everything in it, just so we can see what that's doing. Even if it's just like a very basic render. But yeah, so while that renders, let's just do a quick preview render of that. So one of the challenges I've got is obviously composition. Like I need to figure out how I'm going to put everything in there, like how close to the bottom of the image is the shelf, and therefore what stuff makes it onto the shelf. But I've also got the issue of like, what do we use for props? So currently, I've went looking for like 1860s props that I could use and found these. So if you search 1860s makeup catalog, you get stuff like this. And I feel like doing 2 or 3 things from this could be all we need to do. It's just a case of, okay, how do we actually put those into the scene? One thing I do want to do is like a makeup brush, just because obviously he's got makeup on his face, so he's going to have something. Maybe like this, although the logo is covering what this is. But I'm thinking like a kind of powder makeup brush. And then all the other stuff, granted we're going to simplify it a lot, but we could look at a lot of this to kind of get something more interesting going on. Maybe get a little box at the bottom, could be quite cool. Not sure if I want to go down the whole route of doing cloth sims to get some of this stuff in there, but at the same time it is an option, potentially. But we'll see. We'll see what we end up doing. I'm just well aware of the fact that most of this will be off-screen at the bottom, so I don't want to do anything too crazy. But we could look at this for inspiration, like the different like elixir bottles that they'd have and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I think we're going to get started doing like a very basic makeup brush, which I'm going to have to Google to get like a... Let me just search for old makeup brushes. Quickly put that on screen. So thinking like if I can find a very old version of something like these. Let's see if I can search 1800s. Yeah, so things like this could be quite cool to have. It'd be a chance to do some prop groom as well, which is always fun. But it's some really cool stuff that happens. In fact, these are Victorian. Yeah, so maybe we could do something along these lines, just a little bit less ornate at the bottom. Because I've got to remember as well that this guy wasn't rich. Like, you know, he was quite poor, to be honest. But this is something we can definitely have fun with. So we'll do something like this first. It will get us started. And yeah, we'll go from there. We'll probably also model all of it into the same kind of release, so I'm not having like 100 importomatics to get everything in. But yeah, so let's throw that onto the screen. And I'm just going to try to line things up. I'm just going to throw some of these references. So let's just grab that one. Okay, got that in there. Cool, and we will get started while that renders. Yeah, I don't like how much the Pierrot is kind of blowing all this out. I kind of want to have the area around the mirror be a little bit more blue. Which we can do if we just kind of render without the Pierrot, and then render with the Pierrot in the mirror, and then render him in his own layer as well, so it'd be 3 different renders. But that would give us a lot more control and comp. And kind of pick and choose where stuff goes. I'm going to leave that to render in the background while we do some Maya work though. So let's get into Maya. Okay, so we have our mirror. It's going to hide the Pierrot. We don't need the curtain either. Let's get the wall, the photos, the mirror. What is scene group right now? I have saved recently, so if this just crashes, it's not a big deal. Okay, so let's quickly go into here. Okay, so we've got environment, which currently has nothing in it. Alright, so that's where that is. Okay. So we're going to have to do some test renders in our scene, just to kind of see where stuff sits. So let me just create a cube quickly. Cool. Okay, and let's make this 5 units tall. If I view this through... Okay, so that's where that sits. See, what I'm worried about is this is quite far off the bottom, right? And I can't just move everything up, really. Probably should have planned this out a bit better. For now, what we'll do is we'll just throw these in, and we will see kind of how much it affects the scene. Let's get the Pierrot in there as well. Okay, so compositionally, I want a few different things going on here. Nothing too major because we don't want to distract from it too much. But like, let's just split screen this. Panels. Okay. Perspective. Get a cylinder in there. Yeah, because we got candles, didn't we? Okay, so yeah, we'll get some of the candles in the bottom left. Yeah, I forgot we were going to do that actually. Which makes things a little bit easier. This doesn't need to go forward so much, I don't think. Something like that will do. Bevel face. There we go. So that's that. Sharpen it up a tiny bit. Bevel, let's go 1.5. A little bit sharp maybe. Let's go 0.2. There we go. Okay, so I'll get those candles in the bottom left, so we'll model those in. Maybe that'll be the first thing we actually properly do. Let's just get them scaled about right first though, so... in which case, let's start again. So we want to create a cube. We want to smooth this, I'd say twice. And then sculpt the format. Cool. And we got this guy. Set that to 0 scale in the Y. Modify, free transformations. See, technically you could explain out this height difference by having them on top of a box. Actually, yeah, I'll do that, because that actually makes some sense then. Don't know what that box will be, but let's just get that set to 0. Okay, so we need to be minus the thickness of the thing, don't we? So like that. That'll do. Increase by 0.5. Okay. That works. Cool. So scale this guy from down here. So we want it to be about there. Good. Good. Stuff like that. Not sure what it is yet, but we can figure that out later. Hey Kosi, how you doing, man? Okay, so that definitely needs to be made smaller. Isolate that. Let's move its pivot to its... oh, it already is its base, nice. Okay. So I guess we're going to sculpt it, but let's just get some... yeah, so we want a little bit of a model thing going around here, won't we? Just get that pumped up. What could this box be? Like, should it be something I can open? Huh. Should have saw that coming. Do all that. Don't need it yet. So I guess it would make some form of sense to have like things laid against the bottom of this. So yeah, I could turn this into something. I don't know what it is yet, but this could be stuff. Maybe a stack of books or something like that. It's 1 AM. Jesus, dude. Where are you? Because in the UK right now it's 11, so you're 2 hours off. Which country are you in? If you don't mind me asking, anyway. Okay, so we got these two. Okay, so we'll need to get a wick for those two, but that's fine. We can kind of add that later. These will be placeholders for now. I guess we can just get these exported, just to kind of see how they sit. So let's create a group called prop candles group. And we got candle A, candle wax A, geo, and candle wax B, geo. Cool. And I guess that'll do. So we got that frozen. We need to freeze transformations on these guys. Modify. Freeze transformations. Grab this. Move it up. Okay, I guess it's going all the way up there. Alright, we're not putting the prop thing, are we? Which is something I will fix on the next project. Oh, in Latvia. Fair enough, man. It's nice of you to drop by. Don't worry, I don't expect you to hang around the whole time. No, like, you know, get sleep whenever you want to, man. Right, so let's go to cache, Alembic, export selection to Alembic. And let's go with, let's see, asset publishers, prop candles. Then it's prop candles publish. Cool. Get into Katana. It's still rendering away. Yeah, I don't like what the having this guy in does to the mask. It kind of blows it out. Well, it doesn't blow it out, but it flattens it a lot. Not too keen on that. Right, so let's get all this copied. Come on, there we go. We will do another pass on the webs at some point as well. So, one by one, let's go through and fix all these. So I'm going to copy this, add an asset, add Alembic. We're going to go into asset publishers, prop candles. Cool. Delete this guy. Replace that. Okay. Next thing. Alright, let's name this as well. Prop candles. Then this guy as well. Prop candles. Let's grab this group. And we're going to want to okay. Geometry wants smoothing, that's fine. Cat clock 2 should be fine. Visibility, keep all these back on. Fix this guy. Oh. Candle wax. Okay. And then let's just fix these up. Okay, then we want to go to, where is it? Is it still, there we go, prop. Cool. So that's that sorted. We will need to add a light specifically for it. But for now, let's just go in, wipe all this, Arnold surface. Oh, keep forgetting that you have to ignore the word Arnold or AI in most cases. Okay, and then for now we'll leave that. Let's just see if it renders. Which it should do. I don't see any reason for it not to. Always wonder, but does streaming affect the software speed? Not for me, but I do have a pretty speedy computer, so it might have an effect, but it's just minor. I feel like if you had a quad-core CPU, it'd probably start to cause issues. And I've got 16 cores, 32 threads. I tend to set it so that Arnold can only access like 24 of the threads or 28 of the threads, which would still be a 12-core CPU, but well, 12 or 14 core. I tried to keep a few cores specifically for streaming, because I noticed when I didn't do that, the stream would freeze anytime I rendered. If you're wondering how you can do that, by the way, it's in your Arnold settings is render threads, set a negative number. And negative numbers basically mean use all the threads apart from the number that you select. So if you put -1, it'll use all but one thread for rendering, which is really helpful. Or you can just put a positive number to specify the number of threads you want to render with, but I find putting -8 or -6 or -4 a lot easier. Okay, so these are working, and they're going to shine through, which is fine. Let's just get a little sphere light. So let's create a gaffer. And how did I do it for the mirror? Prop mirror. So we got gaffer, mirror lights. Did I group them under? So if I go to here, set mirror. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I created the lights group. So let's go gaffer 3. And I'm just going to put this in here. And then / lights. And then we're just going to create some lights in there. So add, let's go over little sphere light for now. Or point light. Oh, point lights. I didn't realize they were supported. They're not in Maya, aren't they? Okay, so we can add a radius. Cool. Right, so let's get into our viewport. Perspective is fine. Let's get all this open. Expand branch. Okay, so radius will set to like 0.1 for now. Because having an actual point tends to not work very well. Normalize is good. Max bounces, just going to set that to 40. Cool. Material. I'm just going to isolate this area. Gonna set this to be able to update its renders. And then let's go down here and just live render that guy. Okay, so we're getting a little reflection there. We should make it visible for now. So contributions, let's make it visible to camera. How small is it? I realized 0.1 was that small. It should be visible to transmission as well. Okay, so we're just going to go +2 exposure. And annoyingly, there isn't a temperature setting. There is a temperature setting in the color picker, but I don't like not having Kelvin. Let's go like 2.5, for example. Like, I really don't like having, or not having Kelvin available. Let's go 0.1. You can go to negative numbers? Funky. Something like that. Technically fire would be around there, right? Yeah, it's so weird to me. Why does it go to negatives? Okay, and let's improve that radius a little bit because that's a bit too small. Go to the object. Oh no, it isn't material, isn't it? Geometry. There we go. Let's go 0.25. It's normalized, so it doesn't actually affect the intensity of light, which is nice. What we'll probably do for the actual fire, I could obviously get like a Bifrost sim. I'm not an effects artist, so I'll probably just grab one of the templates for fire and just put it down there, but I think what I might do instead is actually model a fire and shade it to be really basic and then just put this light inside it. And just set the fire to not cast shadows. Or the fire mesh, sorry, to not cast shadows. Okay, so that's that working. That's candle B, right? Candle, yeah, candle B. Okay, let's duplicate that. I call that candle A naturally. Let's throw a super quick material on there. So update these guys. Update this guy. We're going to make that really precise. We can always increase the brightness of these lights later. But for now, I just want to get something that feels a bit more like a real candle. So, candle matte. First off, let's get our color correct. Go like 8.5. Okay, copy that. Subsurface scattering. Oh, that's not what I want. Subsurface color. The radius. I'll leave that alone. 0.1. Do need to go into the specular, increase that a lot. Wax is lower IOR, so let's go 0.4. That should be fine. Anisotropy is something we're going to have to play with. I always forget which way is forward scattering and which way is backward scattering now, so let's test this. Okay, so I'm gonna kill that render for comparison's sake, and then put this all the way back up. This one feels more accurate. Just in case of finding how far that way it has to go. Well, let's say it feels more accurate. It feels more accurate to what I want. Well, if I remember correctly, wax is like scatters back towards camera, right? So maybe it shouldn't be that. Let's set that subtly that way, and then adjust the radius to toast. Because radius will do a lot of work on this. I also should probably put the subsurface amount up. Just to get rid of that harsh edge. Okay, and this radius, I'm just going to tint slightly. For now, we'll throw that on there, but then I'll reduce the saturation manually. Yeah, because that goes all red and weird. So saturation, let's reduce that to like 0.1. Color, let's set that to 1. Or value, sorry, set that to 1. Now I'll just tint the radius a little bit. Just it gives us a coloured fall off rather than a linear fall off. What I mean by that is if I don't set a colour in the radius, basically all light travels through the same distance, but that's not really how subsurface works. It's not really how anything works actually. Like light is different wavelengths are more sensitive to different effects. So like we've all heard of red shifting for like stars in cosmology and that sort of shit. So having a single value in your radius tends not to be correct. Granted, this isn't a calibrated value at all, it's just whatever came to mind. But it just gives you a nicer fall off in my experience. Okay, so I feel like this candle I'm okay with being brand new, but this candle I want to feel really old. Like I want it to be like kind of melting at the top and all that stuff. Whereas this one I'm kind of happy to feel a bit more new. So yeah, let's get a bit more serious about the modeling of it. I'm also just going to do that, and we'll see kind of how bright we want to make these. What it could even be worth me doing is turning off the other lights and just seeing what this does on its own. So let's create a prune. Let's go and turn off all the lights. So I'm going to turn off these lights. And then we want to turn off the primary lights as well, which I believe are in... where are they actually? Oh, my other lights don't happen until later, do they? Okay, let's just move that then. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Do that from up here. Do down here, and then we got our main light group in there. So let's just add that to this. I feel like it should be a tiny bit brighter. Also, one of them should be slightly brighter than the other, but we won't worry too much about that. Let's go 0.25, because exposures are very sensitive. That'll do for now, I think. So let's go down here, delete that. And then save my scene. I'm going to name this gaffer free prop candles. And then what's this one over here named? Mirror lights, yeah, okay, cool. So while that goes, let's do a little bit of an update to the modeling. So this one, as I said, I want to be melted, so it's going to be a different shape from what we do on this. This one, though, I kind of want to play about with, so I'm going to first off soften the edges a fair bit, because what I want to do is, let's just grab all these. Okay, scale these in, and it's going to add the loop here, scale that in. Quickly select these edges to relax them out a bit. In fact, actually, let's just go into okay, average verts. Okay, there we go. So that is now a little bit more friendly to play with. So what I want to do is grab that middle vertex, just kind of pull all this out, That isn't what we want at all. Okay, never mind. Okay, how do I want to do it? Once I could do that. Edge flow. And edge flow. Okay, and then we're going to want to smooth out this area. Technically, the reason this isn't working is because I should have a bit of a nicer topo. Like, this shouldn't be squares yet, it should be still circles. Which I can do quite easy, actually. I don't know why I'm going through all this effort. One sec. Let me just go back on this. Okay, so if we just select these edges up here. Let's extrude that. We can scale it all the way in. That is now just like the hole for the wick, basically. So now we can use these however we want. So I just found a candle. Let's see if I remember these correctly. Oh, my mental image of a candle is way off. So let's go with... Okay, we'll go with that. So I'm going to delete this edge to begin with. Sharpen that up a little bit. So that actually needs to be pushed in slightly. There we go. And for this bit, I guess we're just going to push that in. But I keep doing that, I've already got it selected. Shoot that in, push down, scale in. I'm not going to worry about fixing intersections with the wick, that's a bit much. That needs to go down. Okay, so we're just going to grab these bottom edges and soften that out a little bit. Okay. Cool. So we got that. We're going to need to get a wick in there as well. So wick, how do I do this? I'm just going to search candle wick, see what they look like up close. Candle wick. I know I'm doing it on the other screen. Okay, so are they braided or twisted? Oh, that one's not even twisted. That's braided. I'm not doing braided. I mean, I could, but I refuse. Although... Okay, I'm going to do something just to piss people off. Give me one moment, I'm going to do a braided wick. This is taking its time to save. There we go. Gonna alt save as well, just so we got backup. let's do a braided wick, shall we? So I'm going to create a NURBS curve, which I'm going to do by creating a cube, moving it up by 0.5, so let's solo this actually. Moving it up by 0.5, moving it to the left by 0.5, and moving it to the right by 0.5. Okay. Now we grab all these. Now select these edges. Modify, convert, polygon edges to curve. Okay. We now want to hide this. Okay, let's hide scene 1. I'm going to drag this out of scene 1 actually. Okay. That's the wall. Let's hide the wall. And scene, let's hide the scene. Right, so we got this guy. This is going to be our wick. We're going to go to, I think it's the effects and hair, and then attach hair system. Okay. We go to the hair system follicles. Oh, not hair system follicles. We want to go to the hair system. We need to add some clump width. Where are they? Oh yeah. In hair, select that guy. Go to. It's been a while. In hair, assign paint effects brush to hair. There we go. So let's go into our hair system. So add like 3, maybe 4. Let's go with 3. Subsegments, add a few. And we want to fix that scale. Clump width. And we go to the follicle. Braid. Okay, we need a lot more subsegments. So let's just add a lot more subsegments. Let's go with 10 works. I feel like we should have more hairs. I feel like if we increase this, we've got a higher chance of getting ones that are placed correctly. Okay, paint effects, modify, convert paint effects to polygons. Okay, these are all super chunky, so I guess we are just gonna have to get rid of most of these. Oh shit, does it all as one? Okay, don't want that at all. Just delete that. Okay, that's definitely drawage mesh. Okay, let's go back into the hair system. Set that back to 3. Can I assign a Lambert 1 to this? No, not yet. How do I change the width of these? Aha. Okay, so we're going to add a bit more width. These are a bit overly braided, aren't they? I guess if I scaled it on the... But then it ends up being... And that kind of works. Modify. Where is it? Modify, convert, paint effects to polygons. Okay, delete the history, assign Lambert 1. I'm just going to delete a ton of that. Delete it from like, oh. Why did that not convert in quads? Modify, convert effects to polygons, quad output. That's fine. Cool. Then again, assign Lambert 1. Let's cut it from here as an arbitrary point. And let it go up to like here, I guess. Be a decent point. Or it should be like another peak, shouldn't it? There we go. Cool. Fill hole. Fill hole. And fill hole. Let's cut. Copy you. Copy you. Okay. Fill hole. Okay, we need to connect those two edges. Okay. Come on. Please. No one will ever see any of this. Kinda like that though. There we go. There we have it. A wick. Is it the most pointless thing I've ever done? It's up there, that's for sure. So now we can just grab these top ones. Do that. Pull it in a little bit. Like that. Modify, send to pivot. Will anyone ever notice? No. That's the sort of shit that I enjoy doing. Yeah, the fun thing is it looks nothing like a wick. Should probably fix that, honestly. Like, it would have been fine just to do a single. It would have been completely fine just to do a single layer, but that's not how I do things. We could add a displacement to kind of jank this up a little bit. It's okay for it to be intersecting in a lot of areas, I guess. I'm gonna just duplicate this for the other one. I'm not making it twice. That's a little bit too stupid even for me. Okay, there we go. When I add some displacement to that, it'll kind of all start to blend in again. Okay, so we're just gonna call that. Let's go into candles. Which candle is this? Okay. Candle wick. The temptation just to call it John is insane. Okay, so that's A, right? Yep, that is A. So we've got that. And we move that down here for this guy, where the middle of him is there. Cool. So this guy is considerably more melted. We're also just gonna name that. So we're just gonna group these. Candle B group. Group. Candle A group. Okay, there we go. So this guy, I guess we can do a quick test to see if that's working okay, but let's have a super quick look. Old candle. So we're not going to go too intense with it. Like, we're not going to do this. Like, hell no. Even if it's just a little bit like that, otherwise like kind of melted concave. We would need a puddle in that case. Which could be quite fun, actually. I also definitely need to add a bit more subsurface radius, because that's getting further than I expected it to. Yeah, we'll do this. So let's just drag that into my PRF. Oh, there we go, it's worked. Okay. So if we do something like that. So first things first. Let's grab all these guys. Extrude. Turn off that. Okay, and what we're going to do is grab this guy, push him up. We will break the symmetry in a bit. Grab this guy, push him considerably down. Add another edge loop like that. Scale that out. Get a bit of a lip going. Okay. We're just going to... I guess we can leave that for the most part. This just needs to kind of build up to it. Okay, stuff like that will do. So now's where these edges have to kind of change quite a lot. Although that will work as a placeholder, so let's get that added in. Modify free transformations. Let's go into here. Move you back over. Yeah, that's working. Definitely need to increase the radius, so we'll boost that now. There's no reason not to. So candle. Got that radius. Gonna, for now, let's go 50% more. Cool. And let's get that imported. So close everything down. Util. Oh. Cool. I have no idea what reload args file does, so hopefully nothing too bad. Actually, come to think of it, let's resave our scene. Cool. So, back into Maya. Grab our candles group. And then go to cache, Alembic, export selection to Alembic. Grab candles publish. And for now, we will render. For now, this will render with the wicks having a. The wicks will have a wax material, but that's fine, just for a placeholder. Okay, so we'll need to move that down. In fact, we'll need to move both of the lights down, won't we? Kind of like that, actually. We need to add it a bit blackened at the top, so we will kind of replace it. In fact, actually, yeah, they need to be almost pure carbon, right? Should this one actually not have a light then? Like, we'll just have it as if one's lit. Let's disable this guy. That makes a bit more sense. move this down. Once its radius 0.25, so if we move it down by 0.5, let's go 8.6 approximately. A little bit low. Let's go 8.75. That might be a bit high. We will see. Well, that works. So we definitely don't want it to be fully visible to the camera. Now that I think of it, let's go 0.25 to camera and 0.25 to transmission. Just so we get a little bit of transparency to it. Does that affect the actual render brightness? Obviously it makes it dimmer to camera, which actually is not what we want, is it? Here, we'll boost those back up. Do we want to put that back on? Okay, yeah, we'll put the other light on for now. And we'll move it down a little bit, because it was a little bit high, right? Oh no, it's about okay. Okay. I feel like the wick itself needs to be lower though, so we'll update that. Utils, flush caches. Let's go. Let's move that bit down, like that. And then this one. So we need to kind of vary that up a little bit. Let's go and just randomly deflate that guy. I feel like that would have some fluid leaking out. Kind of looks interesting. I guess as a result, this bit can be pushed down a lot more. Although none of that makes sense. We need to vary up this stuff. Okay, go back to modeling, mesh display, set to face, mesh display, soften edge. I'm going to fix this a bit much. Okay, got that. Cache Alembic, export selection to Alembic. Cool. Back into here. Let's get the mask in there just so we can see how that renders with these. So again, we will be replacing the flames with something a bit nicer. Could even do it in comp. Either way, that's an improvement. Something I am hesitant about is just having like the entire bottom just filled with evenly spaced props. So let's see what if I gray shade the Pierrot and get rid of the prune. What does it look like? And once that's done, we can start throwing together the makeup brush thing. Should I go more yellow? I mean, mine is too orange, but should I make it less orange? Like, should I do this? So what I'm worried about at the moment is if I literally just throw this stuff at the bottom, it's gonna feel really arbitrary. Like, it's almost like I need to stack them up somehow. But like, how would I do that? I do Victorian makeup stand. Let's see what stuff existed. I'm aware that none of these will be suitable for the project, but let's just see what existed. Oh, there we go. I love how when you search stuff like really specific like that, you always get like ArtStation links. Yeah, because we don't see the table itself, so I can't just put everything on the table and arrange it pretty. Like, if I want it to be in frame, it needs to come up a bit further. Jesus. This is such a cool mirror. The Victorians had style, that's for sure. Yeah, we can't put any of this in there. Not easily, anyway. I do want to have some glass containers that we can look for, like, Victorian elixirs. Elixir. Obviously, it would look new. I could put a few elixirs, because they make sense to be just standing up next to each other. That's cool. Old coffee grinder. I think the next project to do, I kind of want something where I can really dig into the props. One night cough syrup. What did it contain? Cannabis, chloroform. Is that morphine? Morphia? Morphine and sulfur? Is that morphine? Jesus. Firstly, we don't need teething syrup. So what makeup elixirs? Is that even a thing? Like, was like skin tonics? Well, there was obviously skin tonics. Victorian skin tonic. Vigor. God, the Victorians were all stoners. This is incredible. I can definitely do an elixir bottle. It's just a case of where we put it in the frame. Which one do we like the look of? All of them are quite basic, and glass modelling is quite simple once you got used to it. Let's throw that over there for now. Maybe overlap these two candles a tiny bit, just to get a little bit more interest out of them. So like this one is slightly in front and to the side, and overall if we move to the left, then we can stack a few elixir bottles. Again though, like they're going to be kind of coming off the bottom of this thing. I also need to add colour variation to this wall. Actually, come to think of it, I should probably do that first, because it's a much more important part of the image. In terms of like, this is pulling quite a lot. Ooh, actually that's an issue. This is pulling quite a lot of visual attention to itself. Okay, we'll throw some interest into the wall quickly. That shouldn't take long at all. I've already got a bump map that I can kind of use. So, where's the wall? I need to also arrange this to be a bit nicer. Right, so I also need to arrange all this stuff. We don't have... oh, that's the plaster, okay. So what are you being used for? Oh, it's the flat, okay, cool. Yeah, I need to go through and name all this stuff. Especially if I hand anything over to Foundry. Of how quickly that makes the material look manageable again. Right, so color-wise, we just have... I'm hoping we don't have subsurface. Yeah, good. Right. So we'll grab that color. I'm going to create a AI layer. Of course, yep. Layer RGBA. We're going to put that as layer 1. And just call it base color. Base col. And this one, I'm going to grab a Victorian powder jar would look great. It's a good suggestion, actually. It's just a case of how I fit them into the composition. Because, like, I can always extend this across, like make it way, way bigger. And just have it as like a, you know, this is his makeup standard, maybe this is his like true desk. So that's like out here somewhere. So then that can start to make sense. In fact, actually, let's do something like that. Maybe not that far. Something like that. His last polygon is a tiny bit longer than the others. It's enough to bother me, so let's just... there we go. But like this, I guess we could turn it into like a drawer type thing. Which would make some sense then for this to be behind it. I do have to be aware of the amount of bounce light that this thing's going to give me once I put it in the scene. But I guess it works. Anyway, yeah, powder jar, so... I'm actually not going to add anything over here, because it just wouldn't make sense to do that. Let's hide the Pierrot again. Let's get the candles in the right place first. Candle A. Modify center pivot. So I'm guessing we do want the same order they're currently in. Modify center pivot, and then just move the two of them together over to the side. Okay, and go into the that works. Okay. Freeze these transformations, and then we'll continue on that wall thing. Let's just get it exported, published. So, this guy has transforms, modify, freeze transformations. This guy too, and this guy. So then we can cache Alembic, export selection to Alembic, put candles. And then before we go and update anything for that, let's just quickly grab this guy. Throw this in base color. I'm going to create a ramp. Oh, not a ramp float, just a ramp. Oh, can you create constants? Is that a thing? No. Uniform? Nope. Okay. Ramp. Ramp's like the only ways to create uniform colors that I've found. Like, I know I've got this, but if I want to do color corrections, I can't stack color corrections in the layer RGBA. So let's just grab that, and plug that in, move. Okay. Really? Okay. Let's go then one at a time. 0.4, 0.3817. 0.4, 0.3817. Hey, what? Oh yeah. 0.4, 0.3817. Okay. And the last one is 0.3735. There we go, we got our wall color. So now I can plug that into input 1. Rename this to ramp plaster base col. Got that. Okay, and then we want to close that. We're going to create a well, we don't need to do color corrections for now. We do want this, so I'm going to plug that into here, input, use that as a multiply. Disp mult, set that to multiply, and then cool. So this will probably be too strong, probably. I actually need to quickly fix the lights. They're going to be in the wrong place now. So, get to this guy. Expand that. Cool. Save my scene. Render this guy again. Right, so let me search Victorian powder jar. You know one of these things? These are ornate. Jesus. I do wonder actually how you'd model stuff like this. Because like my personal approach would be to do displacement maps. Like paint displacement maps in Mario or something. With tileable textures. Rather than try to sculpt it, because just no. That's a scan, right? Or is that actually just that colour? It's weird. That looks... yeah, that's real. That's such a weird material. This is almost like a wireframe. Like from a distance, like a high-res wireframe. That's so cool. These tiny little elephants on top. This sort of shader would be so much fun to do as well. It's so ornate. Yeah, even the simple ones are still quite ornate. Well, that's got some inherent complexity to it. That's so cool though. This kind of like jagged thing is quite easy to do. Adding the rows to the front might be would look tricky. That's literally just a jar. Weird. Okay, let's dock that over here for now. Why is this broken now? Wait, I didn't add anything to the mix, Jesus. That's plugged into input 3, alright. Let's plug that into mix. It's very subtle. Let's just quickly grab catalog. Okay. What is the output of this thing? How subtle is it? Oh Jesus, already. Okay, at that point it's already mixed down, so let's use this one. I'm just gonna re-render that. Technically we should invert it, but I mean, if I were to invert it, I could just remap the entire thing to be plus and minus, so I can multiply. That gets a bit more variation without changing the overall value. Okay, let's get into that albedo. I guess one side effect of this is that it's going to, yeah, I can't really get away with that, can I? That's way too basic. Alright, I'm gonna create a new noise. Yeah, because that's just adding on to the already existing noise. Let's create a cell noise. In fact, no, let's create a regular noise. Plug you into mix 2. I'm gonna go with 4, pretty high distortion. Scale, let's go with 2 by default. And try that. Okay, that's definitely too small. What's the albedo look like? Yeah, so if we make that maybe 0.5, 0.5, we'll worry about the values in a second. We'll just get this figured out first. Still way too big. Let's go 0.1 by 0.1 by 0.1. Okay, so it's getting a bit better now. Kind of want to stretch it out. So now do I want to stretch it out by decreasing this? I think I do. Let's go 0.5. I'm going to add 2 more octaves as well. I'm not too worried about the right side because the guy mostly covers that. It's working a bit better. So overall it's decreasing the value, so let's go remap at range. Always look for remap by accident. Okay, and rather than plug that into the mix, we're going to plug it into the input, and we're going to set output maxed to that balances back out, although we could go 0.5 and 1.5 to keep it a bit more controllable. And so that's multiplying now by that. So we use the mix as the amount of the effect we want. And that'll just balance it back out around the original color, rather than darkening the whole thing, which might actually be what we want, but it's better to do that in the base color rather than build layers that gradually change the overall look. Because if you do that, you typically fall into the trouble of like you no longer have control over your texture, which is not good. Okay, so let's go to albedo. Yes, it's a little bit more interesting. It's not the perfect thing it was before. Let's go a little bit further though. Let's go 0 to 2, like we originally did. So 0 to 2. Oh, that's 0 to 2 technically won't necessarily work, because double the value, like when you reach 0 you're infinitely darker than what it originally was, but doubling it is always just the same value added onto itself, so it will feel a little bit darker overall. It works well enough for me. So now I can mix that down to get something a bit more usable out of it. Let's just go to albedo. Add a little bit more distortion as well. Let's go 0.8 distortion. Just quickly test that out. Okay. Weird how I brightened it up all slightly. I like it though. So now we can just change the time to get us the shapes that we want. Interesting how it didn't change that much. Maybe 1 time is a little bit too little. Let's go 10. I don't like how it's all kind of lining up. It's also getting to true zero, which is the issue I was talking about before. And the first one kind of worked well. Yeah, let's go back to 0 time, and let's reduce this to 50%. And then noise variation large. Okay. Okay, so we need to get the black wick on there now, don't we, for the candle? I don't like this bit up here. I really don't like that bit, but it's not the end of the world. I also need to start my brick look there at some point because that's looking nasty. Like, what is that? Well, that's interesting. Does it not know how to handle transparency with normals? I mean, this is still a cutout, but... It only ever passes right, does that? Huh. Yeah, straight up doesn't know how to handle the normals. Weird. Alright, well let's reduce the normals on the bricks. Just to get a bit more presentable. Cool. So, bricks. We got the wall. Wall brick. It's in displacement. So that range is going to need to go down. Do I actually have normal? Oh, I do have normals in there. Okay, 2 by 2 by 2. That we come from this. Let's just change that. We'll reduce both of them. That looks like it's okay. Did I plug these in the wrong order? Let's go 0.2 by 0.2. Jesus. Okay, let's go there. Okay. Is it actually coming from this? So that's mental. Oh, it might be the background that's fucking it up. Yeah, there we go. That's helping. Okay, so that needs to go back up. So it's 0.5 by 0.5. There we go. So I feel like that's too low. In fact, yeah, let's quickly increase that. So it's a quarter of what it was. Still a lot more subtle, but not as crazy. Okay, so that is the problem. Oh, because it doesn't have an alpha. Okay, yeah, that makes some sense. So that is a very weird bug for it to have. Right. So we need to get the table in there. We definitely need to make a group for all this. I'm going to create a group stack. Okay. Oh, shift middle click. Okay. Group stack, MA, mirror. Okay, let's create another group stack. Check them in order. Okay, we're going to call that GS MA wall. Group stack material assign wall. This keeps our scene nice and clean. Bricks are feeling a lot more brick-like now, which is good. Feeling a lot better. Okay, we also need to model stuff for that mass to hang from, don't we? Yeah, let's get something for the mass to hang from first. We are getting close to the end of this project, I feel. Which, something that blows my mind is the fact that this series might end up being less videos than the Sticky Monster project. Which is horrendous, because the Sticky Monster project took like 4 or 5 months, and this one's taken like a year. Granted, with multiple breaks. I think the longest break was like 3-4 months, but still. In fact, yeah, the longest break was like 3.5 months. But still, like, if I've been working on this for a year, how is it less scenes than Sticky Monsters? Or less videos, streams, even. Although I guess I have worked on this off-stream a few more times. And it hasn't changed the entire environment multiple times. Right, okay, so yeah, we need to model something for this to hang from, which isn't too difficult. I kind of want to model something to attach the mirror to the wall. I don't know what though. Mirror wall attachment Victorian. Is that a really specific? Might be a bit too specific, but let's see. How did they attach them? Did they just hang them? Or did they put like braces on the sides? So if you got a really cheap mirror these days, you can have like braces at the side of it that kind of screw it into the wall. I guess they wouldn't have had that. Although, yeah, so that would have been behind the mirror. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What is that? I love this wood. That's a penis. What else? Yeah, they didn't have visible braces. Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, so we'll get that, hanging it up, and then we just need to make a few smaller assets. Oh yeah, let's do that before we forget. Let's create a wick material. So go into wall material, not wall. Let's go into the candle materials. I'm going to create a wick material. I guess we should create a candle wick. Should we do wick A and wick B? Because one's going to be burnt and one's not going to be that burnt. For now, let's do candle wick mat, and I can always create wick B and wick C and all that. Wick A and wick B even. Let's call this surface candle wax mat. Okay, surface. Put this straight in. So, if we're going to assume a burnt wick, which means put this like 0.2 at most, maybe 0.1. 0.1 should work, maybe even lower, 0.05 or 0.25. So it's like almost black, not quite, because it's not like Vanta black. That should work. Diffuse roughness way up. Specular off. IOR. What is the IOR of pure carbon? I'm not sure. There's multiple states, I guess. Let's search IOR of charcoal, although I don't have reflection, so it technically doesn't matter. But apparently it's 1.46. So if we do add some specular, we're going to obviously crack the roughness and then use this, but we'll keep that there for now just in case. So we got that. Let's create another candle material. And this one's going to search for anything called, anything with the word wick in its name. And that's going to assign the wick material. Candle wick. Okay, let's go to group stack. Okay, so that's that done. GSMA candle. And let's just render down here. These will become a lot more visible. Because if we look at the ref, they are very visible. Granted, it fades at the bottom, and it is only the area that's on fire. So technically we'd need to do a ramp for that. Which we could do, there's nothing stopping us. That works well enough. So, do we model a fire? Because we could just do it as a mesh light, but getting this fall off, I mean, getting this on its own is fine. Getting this on its own is piss easy. getting the blend between these two is a little bit difficult. Like in the way it falls off from the object, like it's not just a ramp up, it follows the wick, which actually in this case is leaning forward slightly, so it's kind of bulging out this way, but getting that blend based on the wick is quite tricky. Either way, that looks better to me. Although, yeah, it's fine. I need to fill something in at the top here though. So let's do a liquid wax. Let's move that over there. Okay. So we're just going to create. God, what are we gonna do? Okay, let's duplicate that. Candle wax melted. Or pool, I guess? Yeah, pool works better. Don't like the name of that. Okay, so isolate that guy. Modify center pivot. Put that like there. So, is it completely liquid? So having a slight slant to it is fine. That should work okay. We'll use that as a test. So what happens if we smooth these? Okay, so we need to move that down just slightly. Although we could probably bend the edges a bit easier. There we go. Okay, so we got that. It's not completely flat, but I don't think it has to be, personally. Let's also roll it towards the edge. So we're gonna increase its height there. So it kind of has the feeling of like pushing against the edges. That'll get us a nicer reflection. Okay, so let's just grab this guy. Then go into utils. Is it closed? No, it's not. Okay, util flush caches. I'm gonna go into here. He's frozen, right? Nope. Modify freeze transformations. Cache. Alembic, export selection to Alembic. Okay, then we're going to need to create a shiny wax. What is the IOR for wax? Okay, let me just complete IOL list. Is there a wax anywhere? Wax. No? What's the chemical name for wax? I mean, I can assume like a slightly plasticky, watery kind of region. We also need to get some displacement on there. In fact, actually, yeah, we need a little bit of spec. Do we have spec on there right now? Tiny bit. It needs to be glossier. But it needs to be glossier at the top. Ah, yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, we'll leave that as is for now, because it only needs to be glossier at the top where it's melting. It's like the roughness of the spec down here is going to be lower than up here. So we need to start doing maps for that sort of stuff, and I'm currently trying to avoid doing maps. Also, these edges are more pronounced than mine, so we'll fix that. But for now, let's just get that imported. So we'll go to here, open this up, or candle wax pool. I'm going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to search for anything containing the word pool. Okay, then we'll go into this guy. I'm gonna duplicate this. But actually, no, I'm not gonna. Gonna duplicate that. Candle wax. Pool. Okay. Then we got candle wax pool at the bottom here. Okay. And this one's going to be a bit transmissive, so subsurface scattering, we want to keep that pretty high, but we want glass to come in. Transmission, there we go. Something like that. The color, I want to keep clear. Spec, I want this to go way down. Maybe not that low, so for like 0.1 should be fine. Let's go 0.38 for the IOR. These should be fine for now. So let's just go down to that material assign. And just get that in there. Okay. Does it say this increases subsurface that much? It's really interesting. How does that work? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into that material. I'm actually going to kill off pool. Okay, I'm going to kill off the subsurface completely. Set you up to 1. Let's just see how that translates. Does it have Cortex enabled? No. We'll try with and without. Although really I don't need them, but I'm just going to see what it does with them anyway. It would probably just enhance the subsurface, like make it a lot brighter. So this feels more accurate. So what this is mimicking right now is... So what this is mimicking by having the subsurface enabled is if this wax was kind of still semi-solid. Whereas this is simulating basically as if it was water, which is not a problem. It's interesting to me how much it's changing the subsurface though. I feel like I want this one back, but like only subtly. So if we add that subsurface back in, it was around here, right? We'll just set it to like 0.95. So it's like mostly transmissive, but also not quite. See what this does. Yeah, it just feels a bit nicer. We get a bit more interesting spec as well. My candle's a lot whiter than this, but I kind of like that I want one to be a bit more pure. We're not going to worry about the model changes yet. Okay, so we got all that stuff in there. Let's move this back over. So now we can quickly hang up the mask. Save our scene. It's very slow to save. Okay, so we need that wall back in. There's that sneeze there. Right, so we got the mask. We need the wall back. Okay, so there is touching. That's a good sign, good start. Let's do our favorite thing. Create a cube. In fact, actually, no. Let's just grab the top of this. Okay, duplicate. Drag that out of here. Then 0. Oh, so scale that one 0. Okay, modify 3 transformations. To verts. Okay, so we're just going to use this as a way to model a screw, or a nail, sorry. Can you do a sculpt deform with a face selection? Deform, sculpt deform. You can. Nice, alright. So why is it doing that? Just gets a rounder top to it. Where is this set to 0? There we go. Cool. Delete the history on that. Okay. Let me just go get an image of a nail. God, they're a lot thicker than I expected. Yeah, they're a lot thicker than I expected. Which is fine, it's just not what I expected to see. So let's just grab all these guys, inflate them out, something like that. And then we don't technically need to extend it like a full, like correct length, but let's just do it anyway. Okay, and then we're going to go into face mode, extrude. Okay, we're just gonna bring that down to an almost point. I'm gonna make the head a bit bigger relative to the rest of it. I don't care if it's something like that feels more correct to me. So let's just add some loops. There we go. That'll do. So let's just grab the edge of this guy, extrude. To get to an almost point, how far does it have to do? How far down does it have to go? There we go. That'll do. Definitely on the sharp side. There we go. So modify center pivot. Grab this, throw it into the monster mass group. Nail geo. Okay, we just need to attach a rope to the inside of this. So I'm going to do that by creating a, let's go with a cube. So what's the attachment point we want to go for? Okay, so we want to vaguely lean this that way. And the attachment points, let's go with that face and that face. Okay, so let's just select the three of these. Isolate visible. And I'm just going to go with wireframe unshaded. Put that in the middle of that face. Okay. Then do the same on this side. Okay. So now we just extrude that. Give it a thickness. Like that. Inflate it to be the thickness we want. Something like that will work fine. Maybe a little bit thinner. Fix these edges up here. Manually insert a loop up here. just smooth that. Oh. Let's quickly close the ends. In fact, actually no. We can just add a loop insanely close. Let's go and insert some loops along to help it. Let's half those. Hey Dominic, how's it going, man? All going good here. Thank you for asking. What is your stream schedule? Honestly, no idea. I've only really just got back into streaming properly. I'll probably try to make a schedule soon. Something I've become increasingly aware of is that my channel still says Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 8 PM GMT, but like that ain't happening. Because I'm literally in work for 2 of those times. Yeah, that's that. So let's go string that. Oh, it's that. Geo. Okay. Throw that into here. Modify. Free transforms. Same on you. You're fine. So let's grab that. And then go to cache. Oh, wait, no, we need to clear the cache in here. Utils, flush caches. I keep missing you. Sorry about that, man. Yeah, I'll make a schedule at some point. I think Tuesdays and Thursdays are still my favorite days for streaming. Saturday is always going to be kind of a hit and miss day, just because obviously I don't know when I'm going to have plans. At the end of the day, I still do want to see kind of people in my free time, and Saturday is quite a restrictive day, naturally. But I think Tuesday, Thursday, 8 PM, which actually is in another 10 minutes, but for work days, this should be fine. So maybe like 7:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, so minus 5 hours from GMT. Feels like a healthy time. Saturdays is still kind of up in the air. So let's go to... oh, I've got 2 things there. I need to go and clear that out. Let's go to Monster Mask. Okay. So, let's clear that out now, actually. So, asset publishers is prop. Yeah, there we go. Prop candle. I'll delete that. Prop candles remains. Okay, so we've got that exported. Let's get into Katana. And let's just quickly... This is going to render wrong, but we'll get some materials added. That works well enough, right? So let's get some extra materials. Add network material. Nail mat. And we also want to add string mat. Cool. Let's get in there. And we want to create a surface. This one is the nail, so literally just for now, going to just slap maleness on this. Leave that as is. Maybe increase that as well. 3.5. You have a 4-hour block for Elden Ring. Nice. I need to get back into gaming. I kind of fell out of it for a little bit. Like I was playing a lot of Escape from Tarkov for a while there, but I got like 96 hours playtime in 3.5 weeks, which is kind of gross. Okay, so this is going to be the rope, which for now we'll just keep like this. I will remove the spec. Stuff like that. Let's go for... Okay, and then we just need to create some... There we go. So this one is going to look for anything called string. Actually no, nail. That one's going to look for anything called string. Okay, let's get this open. Okay, I'm just going to name that. Nail mat. And we're going to name this one string mat. We're going to create group stack. Okay, and I'm going to learn from previous mistakes. Connect that now. And I can just add these in. I don't have to lose all my connections. Okay, and we're going to call this group stack, material assign, monster mask. Have we lost displacement on the back wall there? That's still there. That's weird. It was flatter than it did before. I say like, why is that so brightly coloured? But yeah, it's reflecting the orange, which is a little bit annoying. It is something we might just have to put up with, but yeah, it's reflecting the orange. That's going to be a bit of a problem. I'm gonna make that string material grey for now. So time flies when you're having fun. I don't even want to say how much time I've put in Elden Ring. You're on the last boss now. Oh, fair enough, man. Have you seen the shit? So like, there's a series of YouTubers that did like videos on speedrunning the Dark Souls games, and I think it was Carl Jobst that did like a video about it, but there's a guy who played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro and Bloodborne back to back to back without being hit once. And it took like 16 or 18 hours or something. And he literally just broke down crying when he did it because he spent like months just doing 16-hour days on the game. But I feel like when I saw that, I was just like, what the hell? Like, how much time do these people have? It's impressive, but like, why? Okay, so we got that. I still haven't played a Dark Souls game. I really need to at some point, because they are really cool, and I'm definitely one of those gamers who's like a glutton for punishment. Like, games that are punishing I quite enjoy. Games like Squad and Escape from Tarkov are more my thing. Although I do play quite a lot of Sea of Thieves and Power Washing Simulator. Power Wash Simulator is great though. Don't hate. I'll probably finish the stream at about 8:30 tonight, by the way. Just because I fully intend on having some rum and coke and playing some games. I haven't had much to drink recently, so it'd be nice to have a nice little night in. Okay. So that's working. Then you will like Souls, yeah. It's one of those game series where like I'm aware I like them. I just haven't got round to buying one and playing it yet. That's one of those where I know that I would have enjoyed it, and I still would to this day. But yeah, I just never got around to it. They're still holding their value as well. As like if Dark Souls 1 was cheap by now, I'd probably have it. But it's like on Steam, it's still like $40 or something. Where did you even find that? What, the speedrunning thing? As in the guy who did them all back to back? Carl Jobst is a he's a speedrunner himself, primarily for like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. But he makes really interesting videos. There's also other YouTubers like Goose or R White Goose, I think, and Summoning Salt, and also Apollo Legend. They're like the big ones. They all do like, you know, speedrunning. Jesus, that's an alcoholic speedrun. But yeah, they do quite a lot of like speedrun videos, and I find them fascinating. It's like finding the ways people break. Oh, power washing sim. So for quite a long time, I used to listen to ASMR to help me sleep. Because I don't think I ever had insomnia, but there was a long time where I just could not sleep unless I was listening to something, like at all. And via the YouTube algorithm gods, I ended up on a video of Power Washing Simulator, and it just was my kind of game because it's just so laid back. Like you can, if you've had a stressful day, you just do some power washing. It's pointless. It's beyond pointless because obviously you could clean in real life, but power washing like a mayor's building in a fictional world, where there is a cult sacrificing cats to a volcano god. Yes, that is in the lore. It's just one of those things that you kind of, it's more enjoyable than you expect. Right, so kind of want to crank the normals in this guy a little bit. What are my normals looking like? Yeah, I'm going to crank the normals on him. Just a little bit. Go on the mask. So, where's mask? I need to backdrop these individually. There we go. Okay, so we've got the normal map. It's going to increase the strength for that. Only a little bit. Although it could be mip mapping actually. Let me render this on its own. Yeah, I'm gonna increase the strength of it just a little bit. Let's go like let's go 1.5 and just see how crazy it looks. But yeah, if you end up, if you see Power Washing Sim and quite like the vibe it gives off just being laid back, there is a better version of it, at least in my opinion. If you search Viscera Cleanup Detail, the reason I say better is because Power Wash Sim is completely brain dead. Like, you can literally not be thinking about what you're doing and still win, because there's no way to, like, make backwards progress. You can't, there's no fail states, you can't, you know, accidentally break anything that causes more damage or anything like that. You can't fail in Power Wash Sim, which is kind of the point, but for me, like, to kind of get into that kind of laid back zone, I need there to be like reasons to do stuff, and Viscera Cleanup Detail has the capability to kind of, you know, you can accidentally mess up and causing more problems. So it's just a little bit more engaging to play, which for me makes it easier to kind of get into that kind of flow state where you're not thinking, you're just kind of letting time pass by. Which is how I like to game. I like games that kind of I can lose track of time with. I say that, but I guess Escape from Tarkov is not one of those. You notice the time passing. You notice every fucking minute passing. Right, so that's working now. That looks a lot better. What else is there? Obviously we got the liquid, like the stuff oozing out the eye, which is from the original project this is from, but I think this works. Although it would be nice to kind of step down the contrast to kind of remove these bright spots. Either way, I think... I mean, it's a bit too late to start doing the makeup brushes, or anything else to go down here. So I could just kind of start a render going. Yeah, I'll start a render, even if it's grey shaded with him. Let this get clean, and while that goes, we can maybe do some Photoshop, throw some stuff in there. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to black out my screen for a moment. Just blacking it out because I can't remember what the most recent thing I opened in Critter was. And there's some Critter files that I don't want people seeing. Okay, new file. Use this template. Let's go with that. I can actually open recent. There we go. So I'm back at the screen again. So we'll replace this with the cleaner render. Let's save this scene as well. Okay, that's saved. We can close that. Get into Katana. Technically, I should throw this for nuke, shouldn't I? My issue with Katana is you can't just save stuff out directly from the monitor. You have to end the render so that you can save it here, so that you can get the file path to it and take that into other softwares. How much time do you think you spent on this project so far? In terms of like hours working, if so, I'd say probably about 120, maybe 150 at this point. Because the thing is, so I started this project over a year ago. Well, actually, I think it was yesterday, a year ago, I'd finished a body sculpt for the character. But I took a lot of breaks in the project. You know, it'd be 3 weeks here, 3 weeks there, 2 weeks there, and then there was like a 3.5 month break at one point. So I've not actually worked on the project as much as the kind of time frame between these videos would suggest. All these videos do go into a playlist automatically, and there are websites to kind of check the length of a playlist, which is good for like things like Sticky Monsters or FK Twigs, where I didn't do much work off stream, but on this project I've done a fair bit off stream, just because I want to get the project done. You know, again, I've been working on it for over a year now. I really want to get it done and gone. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it a half job. Like, I'm still happy to spend as much time as it takes to kind of get this stuff right, but I am trying to push through it as much as I can. But yeah, render time's already horrific for this project as well, which kind of adds to it. I think out of all the time I spent on this project, at this point about 20% of it has to be been waiting for renders in some form or another. Mainly off stream, because when I'm off stream I will happily just like make a change and let it render for like 30-40 minutes, whereas obviously during a stream that would be very dull, so I try to avoid that. Like, I mean, with these streams I try to work as transparently as possible, so I don't change my techniques, but I definitely, when I'm working off stream, I work at a more relaxed pace. So like, I'll happily just make a tiny change and then just leave it to render for a while. Although sometimes I'll do a bit more R&D focused work when I'm off stream. But I do try to keep these streams like as open and honest as possible, because I feel that's more educational for any students who drop by. Because I know there are a few students who occasionally jump into these videos. Not necessarily during the stream, but sometimes after the stream they'll jump in. And yeah, I try to kind of keep things fair for them, like, so they can see, oh, here's the process, and you know, if I made it look like, you know, all the time you're working flat out, it wouldn't really be fair on them, because they'd expect that then. Right, okay, so compositionally, still a lot wrong with this. Oh, I need to render it with the shaders, don't I? Because it actually changes the look quite a lot. Okay, I might possibly end the stream here then. Let's get the snipping tool out. Where is it? Oh, it's behind. There we go. Okay, let's get into here. There we go. So, move that back. Doing this with a mouse, which isn't ideal. I know I could just use the rectangle tool. Jesus, there we go. I know I could use the rectangle tool, but that's less fun. I quite like having imperfect lines, but that's a complete cop-out. It's not the reason that my lines are imperfect. I was a student last year and the videos are super helpful. Thanks, by the way, for answering the questions. Yeah, no worries. I mean, you know, I kind of... These live streams have like a dual purpose for me. So one, I really do enjoy teaching and like engaging with other people. Like genuinely enjoy it. It's not even like an ego thing. I just like teaching people where I can. But also it's kind of motivation for me to work. Like prior to starting these streams with the Dragon Boy like 2.5 years ago, or 2 years ago maybe, I didn't do like any personal work for I think 3 years, arguably 4, if you don't count like the end of final year university. And so I needed to get back into doing personal projects, because otherwise my generalist skills would just die, because I was only doing Groom at the time. So, like, it's one of those where I get something out of these streams because I get to kind of help people, which I really enjoy, and I also get to, like, kind of have a reason to do personal projects that is kind of keeping me accountable. Because as much as I do take breaks from time to time, I do try to fill those breaks with still doing small streams like little sculpts and speed grooms, hence the groom studies that I did before moving to Canada, and, you know, edit and edit, that sort of stuff. Any more tutorials on the way? Nothing currently. I am chatting to the Foundry at the moment because we're trying to figure out kind of what they want. Oh yeah, I guess you've missed the streams. I'm partnered with the Foundry now. It's not like a full partnership. It's not like the Foundry themselves are like paying me. They're not. But they are giving me free software in exchange for me giving them assets and occasionally making tutorials. So that's why I'm using Katana and Nuke and Mari full like commercial licenses, which is really nice because I really love Katana. Using it at work is kind of something I enjoy. But yeah, okay, so let's figure something out. So this kind of silhouette is interesting to me. I should probably change the color a little bit. Yeah, this kind of thing, for me, like having stuff down here to kind of add this silhouette works well. So if I was to kind of go in and really should use the... That's great, man. Congrats. Thank you. So if I did like a glass that's like this big, with a brush pointing out of it, something like that, that could kind of, obviously the angle is wrong. I would need to go more like that. So we got that little kind of brush thing going. So that could be fun, like just to do like a little groom asset for the foreground. Can I move that side to side? Yeah, so I can move that side to side. So putting it there could look quite cool. What else? We could get some little elixir bottles, which would be like kind of... Most of them are like circle caps, right? So stuff like that. What would this be in? Would that be metal or would that be glass? And then here could be like a box. But then... Would you want some kind of gold on that? Is there a blur brush? Jesus, what is that? Okay, that is not a blur brush. Oh, I've got smudge brushes, haven't I? Is that it there? Yeah, it is. Yeah, the box there doesn't work. What could go down here? Okay, so let's erase that. With a normal brush. Remove there. So that can be glass. That kind of works in of itself. So let's just opacity really low. This brush is acting so strange. Okay. Come on. Why is it erasing to... Oh shit, I'm drawing on the wrong channel. Okay, well, nice one's that then. That's fine now because it's only a template scene. Definitely needs more down here. Can't figure out what I want down here. It's getting quite frustrating. Should I have like a curtain peeking over the top of this? To kind of like naturally vignette it a little bit. If I was to add... What's that? Okay, let's just go with my favorites. Would that work? Or is it just starting to get too busy at that point? So we're going to have the actual vignette to filter all that out. Because, yeah, like, I was thinking the curtain maybe as well. It's just like, this area is very empty. Now, I could go down the route of enhancing the spider, because there are spider webs, but they fucking vanish in the render. I need to like redo the shader and the model for those. It's like you can just about see them in some areas. If I go into the cleaner render, I'm going to... Wait, is that not rendering anymore? Did I kill the render? Okay. If I go into the albedo, it's like this web thing, but it's very, very subtle. Doesn't show up at most angles. Might be visible in specular. No, might be visible in SSS? Nope. Yeah, it's very, very background. Come on. Please. There we go. So enhancing that might help a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure. This area is definitely feeling empty though. A curtain wouldn't be hard to do. But then at the same time, like, why? Why would there be a curtain there? Because the whole point of this is like a really low budget old theatre. Like, I want it to feel kind of understocked and underprepared. Like, it's a miracle he has lights above his mirror type of thing. Although if he's got lights, it would make sense to have some kind of mirror, just to kind of like, maybe it's hiding wall damage. That could be a way of explaining it away. And I could do them as blue curtains, like a blue velvet, so that it helps force the kind of blue outline thing that's going on. Yeah, I might do that at the end of the next stream, or during the next stream. We'll do the paintbrush as well, or the thingy brush. Although, I might not want to do it as this style of brush. But something like that could be interesting. Let's kill that. Yeah, I'm going to do a clean render. And we'll see kind of how it's feeling overall. So let's just start that render going. But yeah, I guess that's going to be it for the end of the stream. We've been streaming for 2 hours and 40 minutes, so we've made some decent progress. You know, we made some candles, shaded them. Earlier, before that, I shaded a mask. I'm not sure what we've done in stream actually now that I think of it. But yeah, no, this is definitely, it's improved. So we'll continue to work on this in the next stream, which will be, I'm gonna commit to the timescale. So let's do Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, because that means that I can finish work, have an hour to relax, and then get onto the stream. It could be earlier, but probably around 7:30. Yeah, and we'll block out some curtains. We'll do something with that. See what we want to do. See what works. Might open Marvelous Designer to do it, or might just model it by hand because it's not exactly a complex thing to do. But yeah, so that'll be it then, I guess. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you for being talkative in the chat. It's always appreciated. I'll let this clean up to pretty much clean. I'll probably do another pass as well with the shaders turned on for the Pierrot, because it changes the look of the scene quite a lot actually. Yeah, we'll just take it from there. So I'll hopefully see you guys again on Tuesday. If not, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And yeah, nice to chat to you guys. Right, bye bye.